You're listening to the Survivors to Thrivers podcast, episode 18. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you about how I may have shot myself in the foot, not with situational awareness, but with mindfulness. Stay tuned. If you're a survivor of violence and are ready to get control of your life again, you're in the right place at the right time. This is the Survivors to Thrivers podcast with your host, Cranford Blackman. Hey everybody, Cranford here. Welcome to another episode of the Survivors to Thrivers podcast. And I want to talk to you about something that's kind of been weighing on my mind a little bit. And I've been trying to figure something out, and I had an epiphany the other day when I was reading a book about the way the brain functions in focus. And yeah, it's very nerdish, but that's the kind of stuff I read so that I can bring you the best material, switching it from crazy technical stuff to very understandable and usable information. And that way you don't have to read that dry stuff. Instead, you can listen to me telling you about it. So let me tell you about my little trip up that I've been having. I've been thinking about situational awareness. Are you surprised? I've been thinking about situational awareness and why some people seem to be averse to it, and why some people seem to not want to engage with it. And I was thinking, what is it about situational awareness? I love it. I love teaching about it. I love telling you about it. But people don't seem to love it as much as me. And then I thought, maybe I have an idea. Maybe it's because even in the classes that I teach on situational awareness, when I talk about where do we hear about it, the place we do hear about it is in bad situations. We hear about it on the news from the state trooper or the governor or the FEMA director or whoever is telling us about terrible thing XYZ that happened this week. They talk to us about being more situationally aware to make sure that we don't become victims and that we're not affected by the stuff that's going on around us that might be terrible, whether it's a terrorist action, a disaster, or a criminal activity. And I decided that it must be that situational awareness has too much of a law enforcement aura to it, or maybe a military aura around it. So when everyday people who are not in the military or not in law enforcement, when they think about it, they look at it and go, oh, that's about dangerous, terrible stuff, and that's not going on in my life right now, we hope. So I don't want to look at it. And it just makes me paranoid, and it reminds me of terrible things. So I've been trying to figure out a way to help people get past that. Or maybe it's not to help them get past it, it's to help me get past it and to be more creative and figure out a way to share the benefits of situational awareness in a different way that might not have that same militaristic or law enforcement baggage with it. So the part of the book that I was reading was talking about studies that had been done on mindfulness in children in schools that are in terrible areas, the roughest part of Chicago, the roughest part of New York. And so people are creating mindfulness programs to help these children sort of disassociate from the terrible stuff that's going on around them, maybe in their life, so that they can focus on learning, on maintaining a focus on the lessons and in controlling their feelings and controlling their actions. And apparently, it's working great. They're doing this all over the country. And mindfulness is sort of something that we're hearing a lot about now. And so I was wondering, why hasn't that clicked for me? So I was thinking, maybe I should look into this a little bit more. Well, here's what I thought I should do. I thought, why don't I go ahead and see what exactly is mindfulness? I think I know what it is. So I got a couple of definitions that I'm going to share with you. Okay? So get ready for some enlightenment here. From mindful.org, they say, mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. That sounds a lot like situational awareness, doesn't it? From Wikipedia, this is how they put it. Mindfulness is the psychological process of bringing one's attention to experiences occurring in the present moment, which one can develop through the practice of meditation and through other training. Other training? Here's something from the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley. What is mindfulness? Okay, this is a paragraph and a half, so hang in there with me. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of our thoughts, our feelings, our bodily sensations, and surrounding environment through a gentle, nurturing lens. Mindfulness also involves acceptance, meaning that we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings without judging them, without believing, for instance, that there's a right or wrong way to feel in a given moment. When we practice mindfulness, our thoughts tune into what we're sensing in the present moment rather than rehashing the past or imagining the future. Wow, this is really like what I teach about situational awareness, isn't it? And from Merriam-Webster Dictionary, this is what we get. Number 1, mindfulness is the quality or state of being mindful. Don't you love that sort of definition? Number 2, this is the better one. Number 2, from Merriam-Webster. The practice of maintaining a non-judgmental state of heightened or complete awareness of one's thoughts, emotions, or experiences on a moment-to-moment basis. All right, so what we can see there is mindfulness really is about what's going on, not just around us, but within us. Now, just for some contrast, as wonderful as those definitions are, let me give you the most commonly accepted definition I could find of situational awareness. Get ready, stay awake for this. Situational awareness is the perception of environmental elements and events with respect to time or space, the comprehension of their meaning, and the projection of their future status. Okay, so if you enjoyed that, there's probably something wrong with you. The way that government people write stuff, I mean, I'm a former government person, but isn't that just awful to even listen to? And you go, what does that even mean? Well, it's the perception of your environments, perceiving what's going on around you, and how they might turn out as they keep moving along. Well, that sounds a whole lot like mindfulness, doesn't it? What I want you to do is I want you to kind of put mindfulness and situational awareness next to each other, because they really do amount to about the same thing. Except that mindfulness focuses a lot on recognizing your internal state. How am I feeling physically? And how am I feeling about what's going on that I'm experiencing it? Without judging, am I doing this right? am I feeling the right thing or am I feeling the wrong thing? So mindfulness, we could call it internal situational awareness. So being aware of how we feel, what we're seeing, what we're thinking, how we're responding to it physically, emotionally, and psychologically. But there's also the external situational awareness, right? What's happening around me? What are the things that are around me? Who are the people that are around me? And what things around me could I use to my benefit if I need to escape something that's going on here, whether it's criminal, terroristic, or even a natural disaster? Now, in the stuff that I've read, it seems like mindfulness is a topic that so many people are embracing. It's great. It's how to be calmer. It's how to be more efficient, how to be more successful. That's great. But when people think of situational awareness, and even when I Google it, when I do a search online, most of it is about technical awareness. It's about pilots and what's going on around them. It's about firefighters or police officers or combat situations. And it's hard for most people to really connect with that kind of a view if it's something that you're not familiar with. And most people are not familiar with those things. Well, when I started teaching my programs, the situational awareness course was made as situational awareness because it was a focus on those specific things: how to get out of a disaster, how to avoid a criminal, or how to get out of a terrorist event. So it was kind of focused on the tactical side, even though I wasn't using tactical vocabulary, because I like to make it so that anyone can understand it, whether you have no connection to the military or no connection to law enforcement at all. If it's not simple enough for everyone to understand, they won't use it. And when, like the government description, it's horrible. And that's why people don't like to listen to government explained stuff. So I try to make it simple for you. But then as I started expanding the explanation of situational awareness to not only avoiding or escaping a criminal situation or a dangerous situation, as I started expanding my explanation to people of using situational awareness in your relationships to be more successful in your business, in your career, to find more creativity in your life. Yes, you can use situational awareness to increase your creativity. I guess I should do an episode on that. Once I started thinking of it that way, I believe that's where people started kind of not really grasping my connection I was making with it. It was easy for me to see, but not for everyone else. But now we have mindfulness, which, as you can see from what I've read, it really is the same as situational awareness, but maybe with more of a focus on the internal aspect. Well, that's situational awareness too. So what I may be doing, and I talked about it in the introduction, how I have shot myself in the foot with mindfulness by not using it earlier, by not using it more. So many people recognize it. I think a lot of you didn't want to focus on situational awareness or teach it to your children because it means teaching them something scary, that something bad is going to happen. That's why we need situational awareness. But mindfulness, on the other hand, that's soft, it's pleasant, it's good. You want to teach your child mindfulness so that they can be more calm, they can get themselves dressed when mommy or daddy's too busy, trying to get something going. Yeah, that's great. It's supportive, it's wonderful, it sounds warm and happy and loving and just good all the way around. So I'm going to try to lean that way a little bit more to help everyone, all of you listening and the people that you share these videos with, about how this works in all aspects of our life. So my goal is to not be militaristic. As you can see, I'm not anymore anyway. My goal in presenting the way I do, not as a drill instructor, not as a law enforcement agent, but as a dad, a granddad. I want it to be so that you and the people you love can connect with what I'm teaching better, so that you can apply it to your life more. Because it's not just about military operations. This is about you going to the store. It's about picking up your child at school. It's about making sure that your child doesn't go home with the wrong person that might want to pick them up and take them away somewhere. It's about everything, about focusing on your work to be a better employee, to be a better boss, to be a better entrepreneur. So don't be surprised if you start seeing more or hearing more from me about mindfulness instead of just situational awareness. And if you would, let me know how this resonates with you in the comments below on our YouTube channel. Let me know if that makes sense, if it will help you to connect more to what it is that I'm trying to teach everyone to use. Because in using situational awareness or mindfulness, it helps those of us who are survivors of violence to see the world as a little bit less threatening and something that we are not necessarily in control of, but that we have more control of ourselves because we recognize what's going on around us. And that gives us a feeling of comfort and of confidence, allowing us to be in the world a little bit more effectively and maybe a little bit more joyfully. So please do leave me a note. Let me know what you think about this. And then what I'd like you to do is share this with some friends, as I always ask you to do. Share it with your friends, your family, especially those people who are victims of violence, because I really want everything that I do to be comfortable for them to hear. I want it to be usable and relatable. So this is important to me because as a victim myself, as a survivor myself, and knowing many, especially even those in my family, it's very important for me to make sure that I can reach out and help as many people as possible. And part of that is being understandable and relatable. So please do share it. Give me a thumbs up on the YouTube channel. And then if you would, go ahead and subscribe. And I want you to subscribe on my regular website too, labcaf.com, labcaf.com. That's where I can send you emails about new articles that come out or things that I'd like to point out in the news that, what we talk about connects to. And it's also where I can talk to you about different programs and courses that I'm putting together for you. So please do go to labcaf.com and sign up. And do leave me some notes. Send me an email at cranford@labcaf.com if you have some questions that you don't want to put on the comment section, and I will be happy to get back with you. So until next time, as we keep moving from survivors to thrivers and learning about mindfulness in every part of our life, this is Cranford Blackman with labcaf.com reminding you to stay safe and stay strong. See you next time.
To make sure you never miss an episode of Survivors to Thrivers podcast, subscribe at labcaf.com.
Here we go. Hey everybody, Cranford here. As an internal, and I lost my place.